Good morning. This is Kaylin from Remax Real Estate Center and Lisa with Global State Mortgage again.
Good morning.
Yeah. Today we're going to talk about lead-based paint and how that affects the buying, selling, and lending process.
Yeah.
So in a home. So talk with Lisa a little bit first about the types of loans where you have to be concerned about lead-based paint. And then we'll talk a little bit more about how to prepare and that sort of thing. So why should we be concerned about lead-based paint in a loan?
I know. So people are like, what does that have to do? And you have a lot of disclosures about it.
Exactly.
And so on a government loan for us, which would be an FHA loan, a USDA loan, or a VA loan, they're pretty specific about lead-based paint because it's a safety hazard, basically.
Right.
And so any house built before 1978 that has cracking, peeling, chipping paint, it does have to be fixed. And so that would mean whether it's along your windowsills, up by your soffits or in the gutter area, anywhere on the house.
Or the garage.
Or on the garage.
Exactly. And it's interior, exterior, and garage. So it's not just the home itself or the interior. Because you can have cracking paint, around the windowsills, but there can always be, open a closet and you see a little cracking there. Even if it's back in a closet, you still have to be fixed.
Right. And the reason is because like they say they don't want children picking it up and actually consuming the lead-based paint because it can have some
it has some behavioral and health issues for children. And when you buy, you'll receive and when you sell also, if your home is built before 1978, your agent will be giving you this lead-based paint booklet, which is from the Iowa Department of Public Health. And it explains what lead-based paint is, what the concerns are, and why we should be concerned. Because anybody ingesting lead, it could have some health effects to you. Particularly children under the age of 6 are more susceptible to behavioral and health issues if they're ingesting lead. So that's why it's an issue. And when you're looking with a government-based loan, of course, one of the stipulations is that the house has to be safe.
Yep, and that's part of that big safety thing. And like I said, windowsills and garages are probably the biggest ones. So usually people, if they know it's on the exterior of their home, I find. But it's that thing when we come back and the appraiser says, oh, if you look at the window here, there's some cracking, peeling paint. And in Iowa, it's an issue in January and February.
Yes, because you can't paint. If it's
under
40 degrees, it's a little hard to paint. So sometimes you have to have it done by a certain date.
Yes.
Sometimes you'll get a variance.
Sometimes you can escrow, but you're setting up an escrow account for one. That's a whole nother probably topic, but you're setting up an escrow account to get that painted by a certain date because it's weather related.
Right. So if you're a seller, you want to be proactive. I mean, if you know your house is built before 1978 and you're going to be putting the house on the market, lead-based paint is going to come up as part of an inspection or appraisal. So go ahead and take a look at all those areas. If it's September and you're going to be putting your house on the market, you don't want to have try to fix any paint in December.
No, you don't.
So let's go through and let's scrape off that old paint if it's starting to peel or chip and repaint it now.
Yes, and while you're scraping, put a sheet down so that all the scrapes actually go into a sheet or into a tarp or something like that, because you don't want that. Yes, because the other thing is the appraiser doesn't want to come out and see all the scraping and then there's a big pile in the grass.
Right, exactly.
So that's the safety hazard that you come in.
Kids play in dirt. It's just, I have 4 grandchildren. Kids play in dirt, and so they can ingest it in the house or outside the house. It doesn't really matter. So you have to clean it up. But yes, being proactive as a seller makes a huge difference on the smoothness and quick appraisal process on a buyer who's using an FHA, VA, or USDA loan.
Right, because if it's a seller, if you already have it taken care of beforehand too, it also then can mean that a reinspection doesn't have to be done when you come back. So the other thing would be, besides a garage, if you're selling an acreage, that would be, it does pertain to all buildings. So I've had barns that have either needed to be repainted or sometimes there's no paint left on them. That's fine as well. It just can't be peeling, cracking. Like you can't go to it and know that it can come off. So
good to know.
So either burn down the barn. Some barns, some people are like, I'm not even going to use it. Then it's good. Take it down.
Take it down.
Otherwise, you do have to paint. You have to do something with it if it's got that peeling, cracking.
Yeah, and you don't want to paint something that's going to be torn down anyway.
Not really.
So that's part of what we talk about being proactive. As a seller, you want to be proactive. As a buyer, of course, you're going to have to be aware of that when you're looking at an older home. And it doesn't really matter the price range of the home either. It could be a first-time home buyer home. It could be your third home on a beautiful 10 acres with a pond. And if the house was built before 1978, it still applies.
Right, right. And if I have had a house, so if you've had a house that was built before 1978 and you had somebody come in and you've totally repainted the house, keep your documentation.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea.
Because we've had people that have done that and been like, well, I did have it. So here in 1990, I had the whole house repainted. Well, that then shows that now lead-based paint wasn't used, tongue twister, for the painting of the house.
Right.
So
right. Because as a seller, you do have to fill out a disclosure that asks if you have any knowledge of lead-based paint, and if you do you have any records or reports pertaining to that? And so if you have those records of when you repainted the house, that's great. That really helps that process. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So good. Anything else exciting on lead-based paint that you have for us?
No. I don't, but this is interesting reading.
Yes,
so,
it is.
So as a seller and a buyer, this is what you'll be receiving when you are working with a home built before 1978. And Lisa can update you on any other questions you have, how that affects the lending process. And
yes, or if you want one of these little booklets that Caitlin has, you can probably contact her and she'd even give you one. If you're even if you're thinking about selling, and you want information on it, that'd be good too. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and even if you're, even if you're a renter, you should be getting one of these.
Yes.
If your apartment was built before 1978.
You
so,
should.
All right.
They're in demand.
They are. They are. We can print them every day.
Every day.
So thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it very much. And next week we'll have a new topic for you.
We will. Have a great rest of your week.
Thanks. Bye-bye.